if my mic does that thing again during the show. It happened during this big group meeting on Friday. And
Did it really?
And I couldn't, none of my quick fixes stopped it. So that's when I told everyone, like, we do this like internal like points game and you can translate that to like Amazon money. And I was like, everyone should pull in so I can buy a new mixer. But the mixer is not the problem, but it is the problem. Like something about the mix minus on this mixer combines with something when there's enough people and it creates this feedback thing. And so part of me is like, well, I want to get a mixer that doesn't do that, but how do I know that another mixer won't do that?
Won't do it. Yeah.
And so that's the tricky part. So I'm sort of using a combination of like, all right, well, it looks like I'm going to have like a discretionary spending surplus at the end of this month, plus all these bonusly points. I might just shell out and buy one of those Zoom recorders.
Sure.
And then it's like, all right, well, never a bad thing to have one of those. So.
No, I use one at work and it's great.
Yeah.
It does exactly what you wanted to do, but yeah.
It's, I mean, even if I just used it for like, even just carrying an audio signal during a call like this, it's sufficient.
For sure.
And, for the purposes of the podcast, I wouldn't have to worry about, splitting the channels anymore.
Yeah.
Just record it straight to an SD card.
Exactly.
So that would be cool. And it's portable. So I could like fucking walk around my backyard.
Take it on the road.
I know, right? We could actually do a pod. Next time I come up there, we could actually do a podcast.
There you go.
In a McDonald's.
Yes.
All right. Okay then. Well, stay tuned for that, everybody. Whatever happens with that. My mixer chronicles. You won't hear about it for weeks because of our schedule.
Yep.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Yeah, nothing really to talk about, really. Let's just get on with it, Dustin.
Let's just do it.
Woo! The Fantastic Four: First Steps.
Wow, folks, we all know the story. 4 brave astronauts head off into space and come back forever changed.
This car?
Our city, our planet, owe a debt to these intrepid souls. And while we can never repay them, we can certainly celebrate them.
Thank you, Fantastic Four. Thank you.
Thank you, Fantastic Four.
Please welcome the Fantastic Four.
Herbie, how's that sauce looking? Okay. That is fantastic.
You're late.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? You're late for dinner.
Yes, we are.
You late?
I just said that.
Are you pregnant?
What? You're gonna be the best mom in the world. And you are gonna be the best dad. Just kidding. You are out of your depth. We are gonna be the best uncles ever.
We can do this. Nothing is going to change.
Are you the protectors of this world?
Yes, we are.
Your planet is now marked for death.
It's my fault. I stretched the bounds of space. And they hurt.
Are we safe?
I don't know. There's not enough time.
I'm not giving up. We will face this together. We will fight it together. As a family. Has to be us.
We will protect you.
So this is the new Fantastic Four movie. Everyone knows what this is. Directed by Matt Shakman. Screenplay by lots of people: Josh Friedman, Eric Pearson, Jeff Kaplan, Ian Springer. and lots of story by, because I'm sure that the script for this went through a ton of development, and then Fox got sold and then stuff. So there we go. But notably starring Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Eben Moss-Bacharach, Joseph Quinn, Julia Garner, and then a few other people that, Ralph Ineson, Paul Walter Hauser's in this movie, Natasha Lyonne is in this movie.
Yep.
So this is the new MCU movie, the 37th film in the whole MCU. And so in this movie, it's a different universe. It's not the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's an alternate Earth where the Fantastic Four are basically the only superheroes. And the world is strikingly positive. It is 1960 on this Earth. And so that's part of what inspires the retro futurist aesthetic that we've got going on, that you've seen all over the marketing and everything. So if you're wondering, why does it look like The Incredibles? Well, because retrofuturism and a couple of similar powers.
Yep.
So, yeah. But in this alternate Earth 828, I think it is, the world loves the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four have proven themselves as useful to society, and not only that, but what their actual like genius contributes, a whole bunch of great technology and prosperous living. And whenever things happen later in the movie, that's like, we need to pull together, everyone cooperates. It's wonderful.
Yes. Right.
Anyway, so this is the first movie of Phase 6. This is there's this and like another one, and then we've got actually there's not another one. There's the Doomsday is next.
Yeah.
All right. So let me give you guys my thoughts on this, and then Dustin, I will ask for yours. So one of the things this has going for it is that the production design is the most distinct of the films in recent memory. I really enjoyed Thunderbolts, but nothing about the production design of that movie was different, or the look in general was different from other Marvel films, and which is a big complaint among the MCU films. And this was one of those where it was like, oh, this is way different. Like kind of like Black Panther. It's like, oh, this is certainly its own thing. It's a real artistic vision that went into this film, and it distinguishes it greatly from other Marvel films. The fact that it takes place in an alternate universe gives it the ability to take great liberties, and I think that is to the film's benefit. There's not a whole bunch of member berries. There's no member berries in this movie because it's all the Fantastic Four or it. There's no reference to, some people are like, oh, it says Stark on the pregnancy test. It does not. It says Stork because it's a pregnancy test.
There you go.
I looked at it. I was like, no, it doesn't.
Stork. Got it.
And that'd be dumb anyways. Why would Stark Industries make a pregnancy test?
Why not? They make everything else.
I know. It's a pregnancy test, but it's actually a switchblade.
I was just say it's a rocket launcher pregnancy test.
I think the film is worth seeing in theaters overall. And in a rare mention, I never say this, I think this film is great for any audience, as it has zero connection with the overall MCU. So a general audience can go see this, know nothing about Marvel, and enjoy it. And there's no like, what's this? I don't know what this is. It's rare this far in, for now, that is. But the film is entertaining. It's heartfelt. It's optimistic. Like I said, gorgeous to look at. And I liked it. I didn't love it, but I really liked it. Great score. Everyone's talking about how much they like the score. The score is fantastic. God, Jesus, I didn't mean to say that.
You can't say that at all.
The score is very good. And it's distinct, and it's very operatic and large scale like that. You know, it's memorable. Great performances. Yeah. Very. I mean, you've heard the Fantastic Four. It's very like grand like that throughout, and it's cool. I like it. It's different. Really great effects here. Great performances by everybody. I think Vanessa Kirby is the standout in the cast. She probably shines the most. When I think about what the film is missing, I can't put my finger on it. I do feel like it's missing something, or maybe it's playing it a little safe. Maybe it has something to do with, all the cuts they made. Could be, it could be that. The only thing I can know for sure is that the Fox movies, if this movie was made 20 years ago, they would have had Reed overcoming silly obstacles like learning to relax or get drunk and dance.
Sure.
And we're not doing stupid shit like that in this movie. We're solving actual problems. We're dealing with like emotional things. We're not messing around with dumb, plot lines and a waste of money, like watching Reed do the wobble while he stretches.
Sure.
I think I'm just ready for a better interconnected MCU. And I think that's probably what bumps me about this is I want that at this point, especially the film before Avengers. And so I feel like I'm going to really like the interconnection in Doomsday, but I feel like I am not primed for it at all. I have not been able to dip my toe in at all. Thunderbolts doesn't count because it's an ensemble film. It's not like a film with people that has other people. Yeah. I suppose that's what an ensemble is, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
So I'm a little like, okay, this is the 6th phase. I want to see some interconnectivity, but obviously that would have made 0 sense in this film. But I would watch this film again and I will be buying it. The last thing I'll say, Dustin, before I kick it over to you, by the way, for people who are, oh, cool, I'm going to go see it. What about the mid-credit scenes? There is a mid-credit scene, which is very mild. Not that much happens, but, watch it. And there's a post-credit scene, which does not matter at all. And I promise you can skip it.
Yep.
So, okay. The rest of what I got, spoilers. Those are my general thoughts. I think people will enjoy it and we can talk about specifics once we get into spoilers. But all right, Dustin, what about you?
All right. So I saw this today. So this is not up on my Letterboxd yet. So you have no primer for what I might be thinking about this film.
Yeah,
based on what you know about me, what do you think? Where do you think I land on this movie?
I'm so scared. I think you're 3.5 or 3, maybe. I think that's what you're going to say.
Okay.
Let's compare. Oh, you know what? I don't want to do that. I want to compare it to Superman, but everyone's comparing it to Superman. Did you enjoy this or Superman more?
So I'll go ahead because if I say it, it'll spoil it because I gave Superman 3.5, right? So whatever I say here spoils how I feel about it.
Okay.
I would give this like a 4.5. I really dug this movie.
Okay. Wow.
I really enjoyed Fantastic Four First Steps. I didn't expect to. Like, I expect to like it. I genuinely thought like, oh, I will like this movie, but not much more than that. And I almost saw it somewhat out of obligation. Yeah. And it's not obligation to MCU at this point. It's obligation to the Fantastic Four, which I never saw the Josh Trank version, but I didn't either. I didn't feel like that was the Fantastic Four. No, every criticism of it was the characters are completely wrong. And so it's like, oh, that's beyond subjective dislike. That's like, we missed the mark completely. Yeah, and exactly. I felt like that excused me from having to even give it my time. Exactly. But for this, I'm like, well, I feel like I really want there to be a good Fantastic Four movie. Yes. So I owe it to the film to see it. Yeah. But I wasn't excited for it. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. And can I sit here and pick it apart a little bit? Yeah, absolutely. And I think when we get into the points of the film that didn't work or that could have worked better if they had blank, we'll talk a little bit about that. But for me, what did work really worked. And this is a rare example of a movie that I feel like normally I would not like because it's lacking some things that normally are pretty standard for me. Yeah. But I was along for the ride and I was emotionally affected by the story. And I felt at several points, and I felt like this is something that's honest and it's true and it has something to say about people, not about fighting a bad guy or whatever. It really captured, like, I love Jack Kirby and I love his contribution to the Marvel universe and to the DC universe. And I love, to varying degrees, I love the Silver Age of comics. This very much captured that aesthetic to me. So it felt like it was Jack Kirby ripped off the page in a way that like we'll probably be doing this a few times tonight, in a way that Superman, which also felt like it was attempting to capture the Silver Age, did not succeed at. This film ends with a quote by Jack Kirby. It's very clear that they were drawing inspiration from him. And how can you not when it comes to these characters? Yeah. But it was, there was so much love I felt for Kirby and for Stan Lee. Like the name of their ship is Excelsior. And like,
I did not notice that.
Yeah. It feels so much like, there's just so much love.
Yeah.
And it kind of like, you could just see beyond all the other Marvel movies that have come out lately. And maybe that's it. Maybe the bar is low, but beyond all the Marvel movies that have come out lately, but I would even back this up into the original saga as well. This is one of those films that feels like it's made by somebody who truly cares and not just because they have to.
Yeah.
And I really applaud it for what it does right. I didn't expect to be emotionally affected by the film. I didn't expect to get that close to a 5. And again, it's not a perfect movie. No. And in a little bit, we'll talk about all of those points, and you'll probably hear things and go, why did this guy rate this a 4.5 if he has all these points? But the truth is, because I was emotionally affected, I can't wait to see it again. Yeah. I love the look and the production design of the film, and I had a lot of fun watching it. So it's the example that I've given for weeks now with Superman, because people ask me, they know I'm a Superman fan, so they keep asking me like, what did you think? And so I hear this all the time, and I always say, I like the parts, but I don't like the whole. Yeah. And in this, some of the parts don't work, but the whole really works. And so for me, enjoyed it for all of those reasons. And so I think that like you said, the standout is Sue. So Vanessa Kirby does a great job in this role and is the standout performance here. But everybody does great. Yeah. I expected to be bumped by Pedro Pascal because he's just oversaturated at this point. Yeah,
he's overexposed.
But I bought him as Reed. Yeah. So good for him.
Real
good
quick,
for the writing.
There's in a lot of the interviews I've seen since, it's very clear that Vanessa Kirby loves and knows a lot about Sue Storm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, it's the care. It's the care that people that made this movie had. Yeah. So when you think about like Eben Moss-Backrack and what he did in this role, it's kind of a thankless role because his face isn't on screen all that much.
Right.
But he really does a great job in the role, and Joseph Quinn does great too. Yeah. It's a very different performance than like what Chris Evans brought to it. Yeah. But like, and again, I'm not super familiar with the comics of the Fantastic Four. So I can't speak to whether this version of Johnny is more or less comic accurate.
The consensus is that they did it really right, because what they did in the Fox movies was he was just a caricature of like a bad boy, kind of like reckless
jock,
dummy, they forgot that this guy's a fucking astronaut. He's smart, like there's a reason he's on the ship, and it's not just because he's Sue's brother.
Yes, exactly.
And they give him stuff to do in this movie that's like, oh wow, that was really smart, man. And it's not like, yeah.
So everybody has something that they contribute to this, which is great.
It isn't their powers. Like it's not their powers. It's not their powers. Yeah, exactly. It's their intellect or their humanity.
Yes. And then when you think about, you mentioned The Incredibles. Yeah. If you compare this to The Incredibles has a tighter script, right? Every character in that foursome has a character arc. Some are big and some are small, but every single character has an arc. Yeah. This doesn't quite give an arc to everybody, which is fine. But that's where like The Incredibles has that perfect script. I would consider The Incredibles a perfect movie.
I would consider it a perfect movie as well.
So for me, this is like a step below that. Yeah. But I do think that it's really good. And I would say, like, I don't have an ongoing list of favorite superhero movies of all time. Right. And I'm not going to throw this on that list necessarily. But what I will say is I do have a list going of my favorite MCU films. Mm-hmm. I have a list of all the MCU films. And in the top slot, as high as it goes is 4.5 stars. And in that top slot, I only have 3 movies that I rated 4.5, and everything else from the MCU is below 4.5 stars. Oh. This is now in that list. So this is top 4 of the MCU for me.
Wow.
And that's a tall praise because I genuinely like a lot of the MCU movies. So this goes the step above those, and that's great. So yeah, again, some of this may be that I saw it a few hours ago and like I'm coming off of the high of it. Maybe my opinion will change over time as it settles in or a second viewing happens. But as of the recording of this, I'm going to say 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I do think you should see it in theaters. Yeah. And whereas I have been asked and been reserved in whether or not I'm encouraging people to go see Superman, I would encourage people to go see this. Yeah. So yeah, I fully endorse the Fantastic Four First Steps.
Yes. Yeah. All right, let's get into spoilers. I want to talk details because I do want to gush about my favorite sequences. But yeah, it's consensus. Go see the movie. If apparently I don't have any IMAXs near me, but if you have an IMAX, if you've got an IMAX in your town, go see it in IMAX. I've seen pictures of the IMAX screenings and they're great. So
I know somebody that saw it in 4DX.
Oh,
which is where the chairs move and like rattle, and they spray water in your face. And
they have to punch you in the stomach.
No, it's clobbering time. And evidently it's great, but I can't speak to that.
It's a little too immersive for me.
Sure.
Yeah. But I've never tried it.
Sure.
So, okay. All right. Spoilers, everyone. Spoilers. So I don't know where we want to start. Do we want to start with really great stuff? Because I kind of do. Okay, so everyone's talking about the black hole chase in space is so good. Again, I'm regurgitating a lot of other opinions here, but I scanned threads all weekend because I was like, I don't know, I'm okay on this movie, but like I'm looking around, like everyone loves it, and I was like, okay. Yeah. And so I'm just watching people like explain things, and a big through line was that chase was like peak sci-fi. Like it wasn't like comic book film. It was like, this is a great science fiction like sequence. I mean, the Silver Surfer's chasing them through faster than light travel. She's surfing on the event horizon of a black hole. They even have, Kellen would appreciate that Johnny tries to shoot her and the light bends. Because that's what happens around black holes. I feel like Johnny could have calculated to, whatever,
compensate for that.
Maybe it's his first time around one. Maybe he has no practice.
To be fair, it only took him like 4 shots to get the hang of it.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I think in that very same sequence, that's obviously like happening while Sue is giving birth, which is an amazing scene. There's a whole lot to say there with like, this very primal maternal thing happening, and these 3 supportive men being there with her. The fact that Ben cuts the cord and is like the first one to hold the baby, basically, like the gentle giant. That's a really good moment. I loved Ben's relationship with his fans in this, because we got to skip, because this is 4 years after they get their powers, we got to skip the whole, I'm a freak thing. And which is like played out in every, superhero film where there's a body horror element. And it's just like, they love him, lift the car. And he's like, this one. And he pretends to throw it at them. It's so good. I imagine more of Natasha Lyonne stuff was cut, but I really loved every moment she was on screen. Oh God, what else? I mean, I loved all the science. I loved all the problem solving. I loved all the lack of petty disagreements, and for a planet facing extinction, they were pretty calm about being angry at the Fantastic Four. Like they weren't happy that they wouldn't just give their kid to Galactus, but like no one threw a rock through their building or anything. Like no one tried to kidnap him or anything. Like none of those smaller sub villains ever tried anything. They were just upset, but they kind of just protested. There was no violence, which was very idyllic and quaint. A lot of people are. Oh, sorry. You talk about stuff you like too. I'm talking too much.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about sequences I like, but I also find it interesting to talk about character stuff, right? Like, I enjoyed the way that there's conflict between the four of them, but never one that nullifies the love or compassion they have for each other. Yeah, and I think that's a delicate balance when you're writing that to make your character seem passionate, but not like it's breaking some part of the relationship. Yeah.
Not flippant.
Like there's always an undercurrent of love and like, well, you know, we disagree here, but I understand you and I know who you are. Yeah. The closest that it comes is between Sue and Reed, but even then Sue's pretty level-headed about like, you know, sometimes the things about that you do about you negatively affect me. Yeah. And he's like, you know, I don't mean to do that. I'm sorry. Yeah. And that he doesn't get defensive and go, well, I'm just doing what I'm trying to do. Right. And you know,
I'm leaving. I'm going to go get a beer.
Right. Yeah. It still feels very much like they're adults having an adult conversation that's mature and grounded and real. And yes, they disagree. And yes, they disagree passionately. But yes, so I like that. I like the characterization. Like, so say what you will about Ben and Johnny, and I think that they get a little bit shortchanged here in terms of like an arc or some sort of emotional, whatever. But they really nailed Reed and Sue here. Yeah. And yes, maybe they also don't have much of an arc in terms of like character flaw overcoming, maybe not. But what they do have is problem solving, working together as a team despite disagreement, working together in love to save someone they love. Yeah. And all of those things are emotional enough. Emotionally charged enough that it can work. And so, I think that even if the arcs are light, the characterization is heavy. Yes. None of those characters feel like each other, right? It's four distinct voices. If you had taken away, like if I'm reading the script and you take away the names, I should be able to tell who's saying each of those lines. Yeah. And I feel like I could have. So that's great. That's great writing. That's how this should be. So I love the characterization in the film. I particularly love Sue Storm and how she's able to express herself very firmly, very accurately. Like it's precise in the way that she speaks, and a little poetic, but it's also very blunt. Mm-hmm. You know, when the whole world wants to potentially sacrifice Franklin, she comes out and just stands among them and speaks. You know, when I was young, my mother and father, like she tells this whole story, and it ends with, you know, I will not sacrifice my son for this world, but I will not sacrifice this world for my son. Yeah. And that's such a good moment. It's eloquent. But it's believable. It's not like overly written where like nobody speaks like this. It feels real. And I enjoyed her characterization and Vanessa Kirby's portrayal of her. And then, you know, in terms of like maybe the highest high for me was two things. One, when they come back from Galactus and the reporters ask what happened, and Reed says that he wanted too big of a price, you like immediately I know the stakes. Immediately I understand the stakes here are the entire world is now going to want you to sacrifice your child.
Yeah.
And that works so well for me that the entire world who we've seen love them are now going to turn against them in an instant.
Yeah.
That worked really well. And it's very similar to what happens in Superman, where Lex Luthor shows what the Kryptonians said about Superman, and now the whole world turns against Superman.
Yeah.
But this is played for stakes, and that is played more for like, you know, I'm going to make things a little harder for you, Superman. It's an obstacle, but it isn't stakes, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I like this approach to that better. Then, you know, the standout for me is the climax where Sue sacrifices herself to send Galactus away and save her child. That whole sequence really, really worked for me. You know, I'm a sucker, and why I love superhero films is I'm a sucker for stories of people who do unimaginable things at great harm to themselves, but for the greater good.
Yeah.
You know, one of the moments I always come back to is Batman Court of Owls. There's a moment where Batman is stuck in a labyrinth, and he's like, he hasn't had anything to eat or drink in days, and anybody would be completely broken at this point. Like it may have even been like a week or more. He's like just completely at the end of his rope, stuck in this maze, and they send down, you know, assassins to kill him and finish him off. And he somehow digs deep enough into himself to fight them off, but it feels believable. It's not like suddenly I'm okay.
Right.
It feels believable. And I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. At great risk to me, I will stand up for what's right.
Yeah.
And that's what Sue does here. So that really plays well for me.
Yep.
Then I reached a point where I realized, oh, wait a minute. I know that her name has been announced in Doomsday. That was a mistake. They should not have done that.
Yeah.
Because it immediately then took me out of it. Like I was in it. I was literally like choking up, like fighting back tears, and the tears could have come except for the fact that I realized, oh,
she's been cast
already.
Yeah.
And then that nullified it. But then I thought, oh, so this is going to be like how, like she is going to die, and then Reed, and it's going to tie into the end of Thunderbolts, and they're coming to this Earth to find this Earth's version of Sue. Like this is going to drive Reed to find a new Sue in the multiverse. So I thought that's where it was going. So I was wrong there. So I guess that sequence ended up coming back around and working for me because I kept trying to figure it out in my brain where it was going, and I kept being wrong. So it was surprising to me in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's some of the things that I really enjoyed about the film. And yeah, for sure. And the score, you mentioned the score. Score's great.
The score's so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Michael Giacchino.
Yes.
Yeah. People on the negative side, people seem to be the ones who don't like the movie. They don't like that it was quote unquote so easy to beat a world devouring, you know, cosmic entity.
Sure.
But like, I mean, they don't murder him, and they just move him.
I was going to say, I bought that. I was okay with that because they didn't defeat him.
They didn't kill him. The
whole point is that they just outsmarted him.
Well, yeah, their first plan was to move themselves. Their first plan was, we can't do anything to Galactus. We need to relocate. Yeah. And then when Shia LaBeouf breaks all the thingies, they're like, what if we moved him? That's our only play. We can't move the Earth.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean he won't come back. It's perfect. It's like,
sure.
Oh, if we want to bring Galactus back, like he could, but if he never comes back, we could always be like, yeah, we teleported him light years away. There's he doesn't have a ship. He's not coming. He'll never get here.
Correct.
And that works too. I mean, Galactus obviously was done really well here, and that was a big thing for people. Was like, for almost 20 years, it's been like, they made him a cloud and, and now it's like, okay, there he is. We did him right. And it looks really great. Mm-hmm. His characterization works for me. He's not funny or anything. But he's not like, he doesn't have like no personality. He's done right, I think. Yes. I think another sticking point for people is some people don't like that the Silver Surfer is a woman, and
but it isn't the Silver Surfer,
right?
It's not a gender swap. Shalabal exists in the comics.
Right. Shalabal, yeah, exactly. Like, so it's not a gender swap, and I think that there's some element that the reason that they do that, because it's not just for like diversity's sake. Like, there's a lot to the film that says a lot about parenting and motherhood.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense for her to have, she has a child, because she was with a child, right? Like she has a kid back on her planet, that the whole reason that she became the Galactus's herald was to save her child. And it's like that, that's interesting because that parallels what Sue's going through. And obviously that's part of what button they push when they're like, okay, but you still helped him destroy a whole lot of worlds and a whole lot of children. And so like, what greater good was that, I think these heroes are, well, we can talk about Doomsday in a minute. But I will say, I think these heroes are well positioned to be used effectively in Doomsday. I've got my theories on how that even happens, but yeah, man, I think for me with movies that get ranked, like I have different criteria for Marvel movies because like I have criteria that's like, which is the best like team up film, like which one's the best that features, like which one's the best big comic book movie. Yeah. And then what's the best like self-contained story, because it's like, I love Infinity War and Endgame, but they're by nature not self-contained. How do you rank those? And it's like, well, you got to put them in a category of their own. And it's just, what's your favorite Avengers movie? Maybe, but the rest of them, like I'm sure Winter Soldier's on that list of yours up there. Yeah. And so it's like, like this is, I think that again, like I think that what is holding me back from giving it a stronger rating is probably personal bias. It's just at this point in the phase, for me, it's big picture. It's like, I didn't expect it in this movie. Like I wasn't like, hey, where the hell's the Hulk? But I was like, I'm just ready for interconnectedness and to go from completely self-contained to big connectedness is going to feel sharp, perhaps. I don't know. Because the last time this happened was, the big reason that I maybe a little bit of it, I wasn't thinking of this at the time, but maybe it's subconscious. Captain Marvel came out like a few months before Avengers Endgame. Yeah. And I wasn't excited going into that because I was like, this isn't going to connect very much to anything that I'm interested in. Yeah. And the difference here being like, I know it's not going to connect, but maybe it will after the credits. And even when it doesn't, at least I like these people and I'm interested in this story.
Yeah, I feel like I've got two modes. I've got the mode that wants interconnectivity and the mode that's okay without. Right. Because it depends, right? Like if you show me something like Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm like, oh, well, then I need all the things. And if you show me something like this, I go, well, then I don't need anything. Yes. And I'm totally okay with that. My big question mark is because Doomsday is what it is. And we know from the end of Thunderbolts that the Fantastic Four are crossing into the main MCU universe. Are we going to lose what made the Fantastic Four now special by completely putting it in, what's essentially modern day, although somewhat advanced modern day MCU? And I think yes. I don't know how those characters are going to maintain what made them unique in a world that's modern and new and all that. So that's where I'm worried about it. Like we've said this before, the MCU has no central figure to build these stories around the way they had Tony Stark. Yeah. If the idea moving forward is that we're going to build this around Reed and Sue, I'd be totally okay with that. I think if they became the new RDJ and they were in a lot of movies doing a lot of things, I'd be fine with it. I would also lament the idea that they may not go back into this 1960s world anytime soon. So like Fantastic Four Part 2, when eventually they get their own solo film again, will they have crossed back into that world? I don't know. Or maybe they have a portal where they can do it at will, who knows, but that's a big question mark for me. As it stands, I'm okay with this being totally separate. And I felt like it made it a movie that I could recommend more easily to people, to be like, yeah, no, you don't need to have seen Thunderbolts. Just go in and see this and you're fine. It'll explain everything that you need to know and all of that. So yeah, I don't know. That's the big question mark for me, but I'm okay with it as is.
For me, I mean, some of the film at times it felt kind of like, I don't know what when I say slow, but just kind of unfocused a little bit, maybe.
Sure.
But I think it could just be the lack of a traditional structure, like it didn't feel, again, like when you, I had the same problem with Superman. So it's like, it could just be like, when you skip origin stories and the general 3-act character structure, it can sort of, it can mess with your expectations for what the movie is supposed to look like, because you're not going through familiar beats like that. Not every movie can be the hero's journey.
But this certainly, I think, covers the origins in a way that's preferable to what Superman did, which is not at all.
For sure.
Because yes, I agree with James Gunn's sentiment that like everyone knows Superman's origin. But I don't know this Superman's origin. And the version of Superman that you're giving me is vastly different from a lot of the other ones, right? Like there's robots. Where did those come from?
Right.
Like that kind of stuff would be great to know.
Yeah.
With this, having the newsreel footage, which made sense. I mean, that feels like, in universe that would exist. That was a great way to hit all those things without having to spend the first 30 minutes of the movie with them leading up to the shuttle launch, which gives them the powers and, all of that. So I enjoy the way they did it here. I think for me, I had the opposite reaction. I don't think it was slow. I think it was too fast. I think there's a lot on the cutting room floor here that would have helped make the film slower, which is what I would have wanted. So you mentioned one of the criticisms that people had was like, everyone's working together and it's too easy and too fast. I agree. I think that that's a valid criticism. The fact that they can say to the world, shut off all your power, and there's like no pushback to that feels weird. Like I would expect at least one sequence where they, find some bank robbers who are trying to take advantage of the security system being offline for a few hours after curfew, of a bank, that, and, they have to stop them or whatever. Like even if it's a montage-y kind of thing, like that would, I think, go a little bit to help ensure that I'm understanding that the world's not a utopia. They don't live in some weird idyllic world. There is still crime.
Sure.
Which of course we know because there's been crime this whole time.
Yes.
Then the idea of like, okay, we need to all, build these giant things that are going to be the, conductors for whatever to move the planet. And that just kind of happens. Again, I would have loved some pushback from some other countries or some other people who are like, we don't want to be a part of this, and they have to convince them or whatever. And I know that that's time, but that would feel more realistic. To that end, I was unclear how much time was passing. We know that at the beginning of the film, Sue's pregnant. Sue finds out she's pregnant. Mm-hmm. So presumably we're getting at least somewhere in the vicinity of 9 months of time.
Right.
But beyond that, like from the time that they go, that Galactus is heralded to them and his defeat, I'm unclear what that timeline is, because it seemed like Sue didn't get much more pregnant between, Shia LaBeouf coming and heralding the end of the world and them standing before Galactus and then her giving birth.
Right. She was already pretty pregnant. Yeah.
Yeah. So she must have been around 9 months. They didn't make any mention that the baby was premature or anything like that. So presumably it was 9 months of time. And then it's unclear how much time passes between then and later in the film. The baby is doing a pretty good job of holding its head up and being a little more, alert and all of the things that come with a baby who's, I don't know, 10 months to whatever, like, I don't know, 6 to 10 months maybe. Yeah. But I don't know. I just have no clue. So I don't know from the time they return to Earth and the time Galactus appeared on Earth, how much time passed. I'm unclear on that. And I think clearing that up for me would have gone a long way, because without it, I don't know the stakes, right? Like, we've been operating for a while now without Galactus. I don't really know how close he is. Yes, they said he's passing Jupiter. And then a little while later, he just passed Mars. I'm like, okay, I know he's getting closer, but what does that mean? Yeah. In terms of time, how much time do they have? Yeah. If there was like a big countdown clock that Reed had produced that was like, okay, guys, we've got 12 hours till they're here. Mm-hmm. Then I would be like, oh, okay, I'm chomping at the bit to get this done. Yeah. Come on. So that hurt the stakes for me a little bit. That being like the biggest criticism, other than I just would have loved to have seen more from Johnny and Ben, and a little more interplay between the characters. And that's not to say we didn't get it. It's to say I just want more. And like, that's probably a good thing that they left me wanting more, but I just want more. And, for an MCU movie to come out and me go, I could have taken another 30 minutes of that. That's a big order, because I never say that. So clearly this movie is doing something right if they want, like, if I want another half hour of it. So I felt like the film was moving too quickly, and I was unsure of its timetable. And I could have done with some extra scenes of character dynamics and like timeline management. So that's really the bulk of my issue here, and why it's not a perfect movie by any stretch. But I really like it. And yeah, now we can talk about the post credits if you've got nothing else.
Yeah. So the post credits is it's been what, 4 years, I think?
4 years. Yeah.
And so and then we've got Sue entering the room with a book, and then Franklin is standing up and taking his first steps, and he's with Dr. Doom, whose face is not on screen, but it's Dr. Doom. It is Robert Downey Jr. Some people are like, oh, it's just a stupid body double too, and it's like, no, that was shot like during Doomsday. Like that's Robert Downey Jr. In which case, I kind of wish they had shown
it. Yeah.
That would have been great. Really, really, really great. But maybe they were like, we don't want to, because we don't know what they've done to his face, if anything. So
his mask was off.
They probably want to save that for like a trailer or something. I'm sure that's the reason.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, well then just put his mask on and make him turn and say something,
Yeah, right.
Hello, Clarice. Just something.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. It was just kind of like, oh, all right. So there's theories abound, like, okay, maybe the ship at the end of Thunderbolts, maybe that's the Fantastic Four running from Dr. Doom. Sure. Maybe Dr. Doom steals Franklin and steals their ship, and then that's him coming. And which I think would be stupid. I'm sure he's got his own ship or something. He doesn't need to steal us. What is this? The fucking Biff and the DeLorean?
Yeah. Sure.
So, I don't know, but, it's just a lot of interesting, like, what ifs for like, how do we get from that to, I mean, so this Doom exists in this 828 world. They established that, they hinted at that with the empty seat at the United Nations or the Future Foundation or whatever. for Latveria. And so I think in the comics, Sue knows Victor already. And so that could be a reason why it's a scene with her and him versus the two of them and him. So I don't know. There's a whole lot of stuff, but we have no idea like how Doomsday even comes to be. But I'm assuming it has a whole lot to do. I'm assuming it centers around Franklin. Because Franklin in the comics is like one of the most powerful mutants in the world, in the universe. He's a uniquely powerful being, and somehow Doom knows that and, you know, figures out a way to utilize him. Maybe this is how he makes the battle world or whatever. I don't know. He plugs Franklin into a machine and makes battle world. He plugs him into a baby machine, or a toddler machine, I guess, preschooler machine. I don't know. I've got thoughts beyond that, but I mean, do you have any thoughts on how this leads into Doomsday? Or are you just kind of ready just to see it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's like, if you look back at the other Avengers movies, there was certainly enough to latch onto and make some theories. I don't think there's enough here. Like all we know is there's a ship coming into our world, and Dr. Doom exists. That's about all we actually know. Do I think it probably centers around Franklin in some way? Yeah, he's going to factor into it. Do I think that, do I think we're going to see this exact scene in Doomsday, but expanded? Probably not. I don't know. I mean, maybe, but probably not. So I don't know. I mean, it remains to be seen. Again, like, I just don't think there's enough information. So I'm along for the ride. You take the Fantastic Four out of their retro futuristic world. I don't know that I'm as interested. So we'll see.
Yeah. And even then it's like this sequel that they're developing. It's like, well, when does that happen? Like, yeah. So does that mean that these characters survive Secret Wars? I'd rather,
but they got to stop doing this.
I'd rather not hear about this until, you know what I mean? Like you didn't have to, they said during that Doomsday casting announcement that there's other names we're not going to reveal yet. And it's like, why? Because if not to shield us from spoiling the final movie that's coming out after this announcement, then what for?
Because contracts haven't been signed. They're still in negotiation.
Probably, yeah, you could be right.
Please, Toby. I don't know. I don't want to sign yet. Okay. Well, there's Toby. More names coming. I promise.
So that's a little bit of the business of this. That's like always makes things a little hairy. It's like, there was no reason you had to give us that casting announcement. When was it? Like right after Thunderbolts, like in March or something?
It should have been. It should have been
this weekend after Comic-Con, after this film came out. Like, oh, by the way, like, because then it's like, oh, if you don't want to know the cast, you don't want to spoil the movie. Like, but at that point, it's like you've had a chance to see the film, you know. So like seeing Vanessa Kirby and Pedro Pascal's names in here, like that shouldn't surprise you or whatever. Instead, it's just like, you took some of the teeth out of this one a little bit.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know. I know that the next thing that's going to happen. I mean, I know that Marvel wasn't at the Comic-Con this year, really, for all that. They're shooting Doomsday. The only thing that happened over the weekend related to that was people are picking apart this Instagram post that Robert Downey Jr. made, where there's a couple of like Dr. Doom comics on his desk or whatever, and people are like, "Is that the storyline they're going to follow?" And it's like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. So I'm assuming at some point we're gonna. I mean, when's Doomsday? Doomsday is like next fall, right? It's like next December. It's not even next summer. Then they push it back.
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
Right. So we've got over a year till this movie's gonna be made. So I'm betting we're not going to see a trailer for this until, like March or April, probably. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then it's going to be everywhere, and then we'll just be endlessly talking about it until it comes out.
Yep.
There's a couple of Variety articles I'll put in the show notes. One of them is about, they're both having talked to Kevin Feige, and he's talking a lot about the future of the projects and stuff. And so just a couple of interesting things about what Marvel plans to do is one of the main things he's talked about was, pulling back on TV shows, which is, good. And that's all fine. Trying to find ways to make the films cheaper. They're talking to, who's the director of The Creator? Garrett, was that,
Gareth Edwards.
Is that Gareth Edwards? Okay. They're talking to him. They reportedly talked to him a lot. Like, okay, how the fuck did you do this on this budget? What they're trying to figure out better ways to make the movies without just making them just exploding the budget, like delivering spectacle, but like trying to figure out other ways to save money. And it's like, well, it's your movie stars for one, right? Like where you're shooting, because they're shooting Doomsday over like in London, like they're over at like Pinewood proper. They're not in Georgia because right now the UK has like the best tax incentive. And so it's like, like it's not like we're not going to come back to, Trilith Studios, but the money right now says London. It's like, that's cool. The whole, American South Renaissance with filmmaking it's not come and gone, but it's like, it's not in its heyday.
Yollywood.
Yollywood. Got it. Yeah. And there's something else that Kevin Feige apparently confirmed because people were just asking about like the X-Men movies and stuff. And essentially what they are talking about, what he seemed to confirm is that, sorry, I want to read this actual quote. In future films, however, X-Men characters who appeared in previous movies will be played by new actors, along with mutants making their big screen debut. The division echoes changes in the composition of the Marvel comics following the 2015 Secret Wars storyline, which involved multiple timelines collapsing and reconverging, mixing up the characters of the main Marvel timeline in the process. He says, we're utilizing that story not just to round out the stories we've been telling post-Endgame, just as importantly, and you can look at the Secret Wars comics for where that takes you. It very, very much sets us up for the future. Endgame literally was about endings. Secret Wars is about beginnings. But Feige was also careful not to characterize the changes as a reboot. Instead, the executive said Secret Wars will serve as a reset for the MCU. He says reboot can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Reset, singular timeline. We're thinking along those lines. X-Men is where that will happen next. So you can't really pin that down to exactly what it means, but it sounds to me, I don't know if you know anything about the Secret Wars comic book storyline, because converging and mixing up characters, it's like, well, that's not ending anything. That's just like merging alternate universes, which is kind of messy. But consider it like, let's say that is what it's doing. Let's say that Secret Wars is like resetting everything. Well, then it's like, okay, so then what's this Fantastic Four sequel? Do they just get booted back to their universe to do a solo thing after all of this? Because I'm at this point, I'm fine with them recasting everyone. I'm fine with them just wiping the slate clean. But again, like, when's the Spider-Man story? Is that before Secret Wars?
I don't know.
I believe it is. So. I think it's between Doomsday and Secret Wars is this brand new day.
I think so. I think you're right.
So you're going to give Spider-Man like his memories back or his like life back or whatever. And then we're just going to like fucking knock him off. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what Sony wants to do. I thought they wanted to make like 3 more Tom Holland movies. I don't know what they want to do. So it could just be that the main Marvel storyline gets rebooted and all the ancillary other universe stuff, or like Spider-Man does a thing. I don't know. So I don't know. It's a little, I'm sure it'll be clear by the time it happens, but it almost seems like Secret Wars is going to be their way to just start over or, close it out and do what we said should have happened at the end of the Flash movie, which is just like, kind of a nice goodbye, and then everyone just kind of disappears, and it's not like death, but it's just like we're gone, and now we're here, and so now we got the X-Men, and then because he said like eventually we're going to recast Tony Stark, and it's like, okay, well, you only recast Tony Stark if Tony Stark's alive, so obviously he's not alive, but he's got to be alive, so like you've got to start a new thing. And it's like, well, then obviously like you don't want to just start over, have the X-Men, have these new characters again, but not have the Avengers ever again. Like, I want to see Wolverine and Captain America. Like, I want to see the Hulk and Tony Stark. Like I want to see those characters again, but they don't have to be the main stars anymore. They could be like side characters like Hawkeye who are there and great and have a lot of fleshed out characterization, but we're not going to like retread another Iron Man origin story. He's just gonna be there with his suit and do cool shit, but we don't need to watch it from the ground up at this point because that's been done. You know what I mean? I'd be excited for that because I just feel like that's what is needed for the Enterprise. I think if you want to make cheaper movies, you got to start over and hire lesser known stars and make stars out of them by casting them in these iconic roles. I think that like, how long can we sign this people? And it's like, it's hard when it's 15 years of staying in shape and being on call kind of, and it's, you kind of get pigeonholed. And I think in a way too, it's like, it's an opportunity to do more comic booky movies like this Fantastic Four movie. Like we've seen the MCU in a pretty grounded world. And I think we would be fine with seeing whatever, like a Silver Age Spider-Man or just stuff that's just a little weirder and a little less like, oh, I'm just walking down the street in New York and everything's like hyper real. And it's like just a little more imagination, a little bit more Jack Kirby, like you were saying. I guess what I'm saying is like, I am curious how this all ends because I think that I at least don't see, especially the way they've announced stuff. It's like, I kind of almost don't see them. Like, I don't think there's going to be like stuff happening after Secret Wars. I feel like it's just going to be, okay, reset. And then we're going to let you sit with that for a few months. And then we're going to drop the X-Men cast on you. And then you can start getting excited for new shit. Yeah. But it's like, but how do you do a Fantastic Four sequel and Armor Wars and all this other stuff you still got tucked away in development? Like, or are you just waiting until 2027 to tell us, yeah, we're fucking with it. We're never gonna do those things. Yeah. We didn't mothball them because we didn't want to spoil anything.
My overall impression of it is I understand business wise why you have to recast, keep moving forward. And there's a precedent for it in terms of like James Bond, right? I think that whoever comes in and tries to fill those Tony Stark shoes is going to be at a massive disadvantage from the start. So they're going to have to be like spot on.
That's why I think it just needs to be a side character, like not expected to carry a film on his own type of thing.
Yeah, I don't know that there'd be more Iron Man movies, but like the Avengers will certainly feature him moving forward. And so, but like how? And so I think they'd be free to mix and match, and maybe they have a new Iron Man and Chris Evans again as Captain America and Hemsworth as Thor, but it's a new Hulk and it's a new, you know what I mean? Like they can just pick whatever they want. Yeah. Totally fine. Based on, actor availability, that still feels a little like too businessy for the story side of things. And so for me, it would probably feel inauthentic to like, okay, well, why did Chris Evans come back? Oh, because they could. Or wait, you're telling me that, Hulk is played by a new actor, but She-Hulk is played by the same actress?
Same actor, yeah.
Yes, because we couldn't get Ruffalo back, or we're tired of Ruffalo or whatever. Right. And then I just start seeing the business part of it and not the creative part of it.
You need to commit.
So like the creative in me goes, nope, just like every TV show, this thing needs to come to an end.
It needs to come to an end.
And you have to finish it. Yep. And I understand that you're going to have shareholders who are going, release more. But that's where you go, the MCU is done.
Yep.
The whole thing is done. We've put a bow on it. It's out to pasture. Yep. Now, if you want another Thor movie, then you're making a standalone Thor movie with a new director and a new cast and new everything, and it's from the ground up. Yep. But our MCU proper is now done. Yeah. Right. I think that's creatively the better way around it. Yeah. Is to say the story is now done and make your changes. And I also think you probably should just blank slate everyone.
Yeah. I think so.
Even if Hemsworth is like, yeah, I'll come back again. Just be like, sorry, Chris.
You can come back and play Odin. Like you can, if you want to come back, like maybe we'll do some fun stuff like that. But like,
Yeah.
You're not going to come back and play your character again.
No.
No,
definitely not.
I think at this point, like the MCU is not in a position to recapture the magic of the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
And for a bunch of reasons, because it's been done, but also like all that building and slow, that had never been done before. And at this point in that same continuity, we are beyond, or we should be beyond, endless new character origin stories. It's just like, it's almost like the quiet solo stuff is too slow for us.
Yeah.
And the big mashup stuff is too much for us. And it's like, we're having trouble with balance at this point. And it's because there is a certain amount of mixing that has to happen because of believability. But we also want these new characters and fresh stories. And it's like the reset solves those both. You can start over, build new stories, harmonize on old stories. Like, hey, we never did the dark, like, let's do the Dark Phoenix really well. Like, do we want to take another crack at this? And it's just, and to me, like what I learned in the course of, cause I didn't know anything about comics, beyond what I was reading as these films came out. And as I came to learn, like, I remember when Iron Man came out, my friend Andrew was like, he was a big Iron Man fan. And he said, you don't understand. This character is like borderline a nobody in the comics. He's such an obscure character. And they made him and that was like an early criticism was like, why is Tony Stark the leader? Why isn't it like, and it's like, well, because we don't have Spider-Man or the X-Men, but now we've got at least these partnerships, if nothing else, or why not the Fantastic Four? And it's like, you're right, because in a new timeline, a reset timeline, the leaders should be Charles Xavier, Reed Richards. It should be those characters that we didn't have access to before. The whole reason we had Stark was because those were the characters they could
We had nowhere else to turn.
Yeah, exactly. And it worked really well. But it's like, you can't do that again. You got to start over, save your money, cast new actors, make new movie stars, and play around with your production design and get a little bit weird. And it doesn't have to take 5 years of building individual stories, because now you get to use James Gunn's excuse. Okay, we know who the main X-Men are. We know. There's a part of you that's like, remember for 25 years now, we've been saying, not us, but like the culture has been saying, Hugh Jackman's great as Wolverine. It's a little weird that they centered the movies around his character, because he's not the leader of the X-Men. Cyclops is. And so it's like, so now we have a chance in the movies to cast someone as Wolverine, but it's like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, not as great as Hugh Jackman, because it's going to be fundamentally different. He's not going to be the main leader. We're going to focus on Scott Summers. We're going to focus on Jean Grey. We're going to have Wolverine, but we've seen so much Wolverine that we do not have to put the film on his shoulders anymore. We can do more of what the X-Men animated series did, and X-Men 97 has done since. It's like, let's show this ensemble balanced in the way they should be balanced, the way it should have been done from the start. And the only reason it wasn't done that way was because movie studios and toy people were still in charge, and all they were thinking about was selling tickets and selling toys. And they weren't thinking about stories or character balance in that way. They were thinking kind of the old way. And now that we have established plenty of new ways of making these movies with the help of people like Kevin Feige and James Gunn and Jon Favreau, it's like, now you can go, okay, let's be honest about what the market already knows about these characters. Let's be honest about what the story needs. And with all this fucking money we've made over the last 30 years, let's believe in this idea a little bit and just let's do the story right, because people are going to they're going to come see an X-Men movie. Yes. And all they ask us to do at this point is to make a good one. That's all they want.
Right.
So if we just make a good one, this will pay off. We'll make 2 more. We'll interconnect them with Fantastic Four. We'll pull some new Spider-Man stuff. Maybe we can do a Hulk movie, or maybe we don't. Maybe we do some other stuff. Maybe we get Squirrel Girl.
Why not?
Maybe we finally do these other things, and we can just do a lot tighter of a thing and walk forward with more intention. And we will always have the Infinity Saga and, the multiverse saga. Like, it's just like the comics, man. Like, you've got your favorite run, and then you got to wipe and you start over. And I would rather them just start over and just do this every 20 years forever.
Yep.
Than to just end these and never make more, because that would feel like a failure. That would feel like, okay, like we're done with this experiment. And to be honest, on their end, they'd be leaving money on the table and ceding the field to DC. It's like, you got to stay competitive with DC and Warner Brothers and anyone else who wants to, if this isn't accurate, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Like, because if you can't reset the universe after Secret Wars, then what are you doing?
Right.
Secret Wars 100%. Is supposed to be a reset. I literally think that's how the comic ends, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
You got to do it. And it seems like they're sort of telegraphing that. Like, why else are you going to bring Alan Cumming and Rebecca Romaine back and all these people? It's like, it's really great. And it's arguably an even bigger cast and interconnected thing than the Avengers Endgame or Deadpool and Wolverine. It's like that's all like the Fox people. And it's like, this is a good thing, but it's just like, how do you get grander than that? And it's like, you probably don't. Either the movie's not good or it's good and you'll never ever top it.
Right.
And it's just got to be really different. And you gotta be like, you have to embrace and be like, this is where it ends, everybody. Because I guarantee you, like Mark Ruffalo, like, how do you get Mark Ruffalo signed for another Avengers movie? Like, you got to tell him that's okay. It's it after this.
Yeah.
This is the last thing.
It's one more and you're done.
How do you get Alan Cumming? It's like, I'm sure you throw money at these people, but you have to give them an interest. And at some point, what interests these people is, hey, how does this fucking end?
Yes. Yeah. How do I end?
Tell me. Real interesting stuff. So I'm very curious to see how they pull that off, because that's my next big like rock or whatever, like my next big interesting thing with the MCU. It's not just, oh, I wonder what happens in Doomsday. It's Secret Wars. For me, it's like, okay, how do we end this?
Yep.
How do we end this? I would like to see a reset. And if I don't see a reset, I think I'm going to lose my fucking mind, because after talking about it like this, it's just, it makes way too much sense. And it excites me to talk about it.
Sure.
And it depresses me to think it won't happen.
Yes. Yep.
So that's where it's like, okay, somebody else needs to recognize that and do it.
Yes.
It makes too much financial sense. Just money alone. You don't have to pay anyone $30 million to be in a film or any kickbacks. You just tell this unknown, hey, let's start with like 1 million and let's see if this movie works.
Let's see what happens.
Save that money, guys. Save it. You know, that's what you do.
Sweat got like $750K for Superman.
Yeah. Him and Rachel Brosnahan both, like totally less than $1 million. Yeah. It's just like, we got to control the costs here, like we're paying for all the CG and these locations and whatever. And then, but if you cast an unknown as Wolverine, it's just like, oh yeah, like it just, you got to do that thing where it's just like build them into a star and give it time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to say underpay them, but like, pay them what they're worth. Like, hey, like, we think you got something. You're a good fit. Let's see how this works.
Yes.
Yep.
100%. It becomes at that point, like, really, that's the only way to go in terms of following up somebody like, Hemsworth as Thor, is to go with an unknown, because then you're not bringing in all the baggage and all that stuff. But also the actor themselves probably has a clean slate from, the charitable fans.
Yes.
Okay, let's see what they do. And whereas, Hemsworth leaves and you're like, okay, the new Thor is Jacob Elordi. And it's like, oh, okay.
I know who that is though. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And that's another reason I think they should after the reset, they need to de-emphasize the characters that we've previously emphasized so much. Yeah. I don't think there should be another solo Thor movie or Iron Man or even Captain America movie. It's like,
no, I don't think so.
We don't need to explore their stories. And that's just going to set your new actors up for failure, because you're going to compare them to people who have not only played them once and great, played them for 15, 20 years and consistently have been the face of these characters. And the only way that you can set everyone up for success is focus on new characters, take the front, which there will not have been an X-Men film with the core cast of the X-Men, in over 20 years at that point. And, all the other characters, you want a good Stark, a good Thor, you want them to all be good fits.
Yeah.
But it's not like we're not going to make you watch them in their own movie. They're going to be here. They're going to be part of an ensemble. But I don't want to say they don't have to carry the movie, because you want actors who can, but it's like,
but it's not all on their shoulders.
We're not asking. Yeah. It's not all on their shoulders. Like it is on, you're buying into maybe it's a new Reed Richards, like, or maybe it's not a new Reed Richards. Maybe this new universe starts with the Fantastic Four. You know what I mean? Like maybe like it converges on them and they're the only ones who survive. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really want that. I want I want that. If you reboot, you got to reboot everyone.
For sure.
That's how I feel. So, which
is also what DC's going through right now. They didn't reboot everything.
Yeah.
They didn't reboot everyone. And it's like, confusing.
No, that's can't do that.
Yep.
That's a money thing. It's like, you got to stop that. You got
to just do it.
Take the leap. Okay. Like people are not going to not come to the first Marvel movie in a new continuity because they don't recognize the actor. That's just not going to happen. It's fucking stupid to think that would be a risk at all.
Correct.
It's ridiculous. So they need to just commit, quit being such a pussy and commit,
and do it.
All right. That's my piece.
That's it.
Okay. All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Your world is marked for death. What? Quit being such a pussy and commit.
The whole really works.